What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It
my
was good.
favorite movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah.
Colleen Foy, welcome back inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We got such the reaction the first time that you came on the show. Everybody loved you, and it was one of my favorite interviews. I know we've told you this before, but the big smile and the enthusiasm and the passion that you had when you were talking about the things that you do, it just lit up, and it was like impossible not to be happy talking to you. So we were like, yeah, we got to get her back on. It's been a while, but we finally did it. We finally got you back on.
I appreciate you inviting me back on so much.
Oh.
It's nice to chat with you, Dustin.
Oh, of course. And you have been busy. I have to say. I mean, since we talked to you last, you've been on like so many huge shows, like Lone Star 911 and the Law and Orders because of the crossover and the Hunting Party and just like I can't even believe all of the stuff that you've been on. Lincoln Lawyer. First of all my favorites. Like I'm hooked on all these shows,
Good.
and you're like watching it, you're on them, and then but then also continuing the coaching, acting coach on XO Kitty and the TikTok videos. I want to dive into all of this because the TikTok and the Instagram stuff, I love that you share the process and how you do the auditions. And this is what I did to get that role. And because I think the more that we can put that type stuff out there and for people trying to do it and trying to get it, it's just crucial. So let's talk about that a little bit first because, as an actress, I'm sure we all know in the industry, you go stretches. So, the job is auditioning. When you get the role, it's just the perk, right? So keeping yourself active and doing the coaching, I love that because it allows you to perfect the craft and keep working on the craft while helping others. So talk about the coaching, XO Kitty, how that came about, and just your process behind it and why you do it, because I think it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. So I've been an acting teacher and coach in Los Angeles for almost 16 years. 16
Wow.
years
Yeah.
as of April. I actually am teaching at the studio that I studied at when I came to LA. And I bumped around to a couple places, took a scene study class here, was in a play there, did another play, theater classes. And then one night I had been working for about over 2 years to get an agent for TV and film. It's
Right.
very hard for me to get an agent. And I finally had signed with someone and I got an audition. And I looked at the pages for that audition and I thought, I don't know what to do with this. I was in the middle of tech rehearsal for a play that paid no money. It was just for the love of acting, which I
Right.
love acting so much. So obviously I was dedicated to acting, love acting, but it blew my mind that I didn't know what to do with these 6 pages.
Yeah.
And this was a comedy, but I don't see anything funny on these pages. And so it made me realize, first of all, so that night I called my teacher. I got in for a coaching that night. He knew the new show. He knew exactly sort of what my character was doing, who the other characters were, everything.
Awesome.
And I had a great audition. But I said to myself, I can never, ever again be in this position where I get an opportunity that I've worked so hard for and I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to execute. Because at that point, it's up to me. When I get in the room, I always say we're the closers. Our reps and perhaps publicists and whomever else work to get us in the room. And then once we're in the room, which is now sort of self-tapes,
Yes.
it's up to us to close the deal. So my acting has to close the deal. I can never ever be in that position again. So I switched gears from doing scene study, doing theater, and just started working on current material. Current TV and film material. And it was everything that I did not get in my 4-year theater program, because I got taught a lot, but not how to book a job in LA in the current year, because TV and film are changing all the time.
All the time, yeah.
the industry standards are changing all the time, and the way that we book these jobs is changing all the time. So I really became sort of obsessed with being so in the know of how the industry works that that nothing could pass me by. And my saying is, and you can bleep this out or cut this out if you
Oh,
need
no,
to,
you're
but
good to go.
is is I strive to be unfuckwithable. Nothing can
Yeah.
fuck with me.
Yeah.
Whether it's the amount of pages or like the big people who are in it or whatever the challenges are, nothing. I cannot be fucked with. I am unfuckwithable. So anyway, that my teacher asked me one night to stay after class, and I thought, what rule did I break? I'm such a goody two shoes. I was like, what rule did I break? What policy did I not see? And he asked if I would teach for him. That was 16, almost 16 years ago. And so I strive to create an environment where my students can become unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
It's always currently casting material. We're working on new shows. There's some new pilots that are being cast, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
And then other shows that are on the air that so sort of when we dive into pilots, who are the producers? Who are the writers? What is the network? What is the tone of the show? How did they sell this show? Reading the full script, what are the relationships? What are the arc over time? And then when working on shows like in my class right now, we're working on Matlock, Landman, High Potential, Stick, which show I love.
Love.
So yeah, I love it too. Shows that are already on the air and they want you to already know the tone of the show.
Right.
And so when we're working on something like Matlock, if you are opposing counsel to Olympia, she's been on the air for seasons now. You know who the character of Olympia is. You know the dynamic she has with winning.
Yeah.
She's competitive. You know the dynamic she has with Maddie, and you know sort of how to be her foil, be her adversary. And you know that if you're on page 17 in the first scene and your last page is on, or your last scene is on page 46, you know that there's got to be an arc over the entirety of your audition. So just sort of training folks how to it's a called audition technique, but I always say it's professional tools for the modern actor because the modern actor has we're guaranteed 48 hours, but sometimes it's a soft 48 hours
Okay.
to prep our auditions. But you oftentimes don't get a producer session. So that tape that you send in is the thing that they will eventually send to the executive producers, to Warner Brothers to sign off on, to NBC Universal to sign off on. That tape that you have 48 hours to create, and a 48 hours where you also have to sleep, go to work, eat, shower, tend to your relationships. You have to make something that will really stand out and at the same time fit
Yeah.
into their show.
Yeah.
When they're looking for well, let's keep with Matlock for a sec. When they're looking at Matlock audition tapes, I don't believe that they're going, who's the very best actor? We're just the best actor. I think they're really saying who gets it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Who can we drop into a scene with Kathy Bates on Tuesday, and they're going to be the easiest part of our day. Because Kathy Bates is busy, honey. She's busy, right?
Yeah.
Same with like the Law and Order that I did. When they're doing a crossover episode, they really want an actor they can plop into a scene with Mariska Hargitay because and it's gonna go like that. They're gonna get it. They know what to do because she has to be in the other episode as well. And she's also doing promo, and she's also has her doc coming out, so she's got to be on the Today Show. There's so many things going on that I really think honing in on the audition allows us to show them, I get it. Not only am I a great actor and a good fit for this character, but I get it. You will waste no time telling me what to do or like how the show runs or what the tone of the show is. I get it. I get it, and I can't wait to collaborate.
Do you think that
Yeah.
that because there was a couple of things that really stuck out to me there too about the approach of not just knowing the tone and the characters and their world and how they react and these things. Do you think that approach also helps down the line of maybe securing an extended role, maybe you get, beyond just that one episode because they see that you understand the world and can fit into the world, and maybe you get a recurring guest star because you're able to just plop right in and fit into the world? Do you think that helps?
Yes, I do. Maybe not. Well, I'll speak from my perspective because I've had that happen where I'm just a one episode guest star, and then it becomes 4 episodes, it
Yeah.
becomes 14 episodes. And I was not able to necessarily show that in the audition, but I think then when on set, being able to, I used the word be a foil earlier, being able to sort of heighten the series' regular storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So on Station 19, I think I'm rocking my Station 19 shirt.
Yeah, look at you.
When I was on Station 19, my character for the episode I was hired for was escaping an abusive husband,
Right.
and I planted a couple seeds that the handsome firefighter who was helping me leave this awful domestic situation, I planted seeds that there was a little bit of spark between us. And luckily they saw that seed sprouted a little bit and they wanted to connect it. But I knew that I could sort of my character could a little bit flirt with him
Right.
because he was unlucky in love. This character was unlucky in love. He was not married. It's not like if I was flirting with a character who had like, a relationship that was sort of the cornerstone of
Right.
this show, it wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
But I knew that this character was unlucky in love and sort of always, he was also in the foster care system, so was always sort of searching for a family. I happen to have a son. So that helped a lot as well. But yeah, and that happened on another show called This Close. A really fantastic show created by Shoshana Stern and Josh Feldman. And I only shout them out because they are so darn fabulous. And that show is so slept on.
Yeah.
It was on a network called Sundance Now, which was Sundance's streaming platform. I had such a blast in the first season, and then they wrote me in for the second season, which is so nice.
See, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I think your approach, knowing what you can do, that's key, right? Like you understood who he was, the firefighter, right? And so you're like, oh, I can take a chance flirting because I know he's not involved, and I know this and I know that. And I love that you go in. And I like that you kind of develop your own backstory too, maybe that you weren't given with just the sides for that one day scene, right? You're like, well, she's coming from this, so maybe she's got this or maybe she's got that. So, and I love that. I love the approach. Let's talk about too, because I think it's really important because it has shifted, right? And it shifts every day. So the importance of, because I can't tell you, as a director myself and doing casting and stuff, the amount of self-tapes that I see that are just poorly done. And it's not poorly acted. It's
Yeah.
just the lighting is bad, or I can't understand them because the sound is off, or so let's talk about that a little bit too, because I saw the video that you did. It's like, here's my lighting setup. Take a look at how I
Yeah.
light this thing, right? And so talk about the importance of that a little bit too. Knowing what to have in the background, knowing the importance of the slate, and because you really do, like you said, this is the one thing. This is you getting in the room after your people have gotten you the audition, right? So talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for celebrating those posts that I put on social media.
Oh, I love them every day.
Thank you so much. I had posted some of my audition tapes, and folks were like, "What is the setup? What is going on here?"
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily like a gearhead, a huge tech person, but I very much appreciate a certain aesthetic, and that is clean. Clean. So anything that's distracting in the background, like anything that's distracting in the background, and sometimes what that can be, Dustin, is wrinkles in the backdrop.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like shadows on the background, and also clarity of the speaker, both the reader and the actor, I think is
Mm-hmm.
just so important. I travel. Oh, sorry, I'm getting
No, you're good. Go.
I have so much to say about it, actually. Dustin, I think in the last couple of years, actually, I guess maybe it's since we started self-taping due to the pandemic. I've kind of accepted that I get distracted more easily than I'd ever let myself admit to before. So if I see shadow or if I hear um, a lot of times I hear the smoke detector
Yeah.
not having batteries that beep. Or if I hear rustling in the background or anything else, I get distracted.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to sound elitist because I have been called out for that on social media
Wow.
because I know not everyone has a great amount of space, and I
Right.
know that not everyone has an excellent reader at their fingertips. I completely understand, and all of this equipment is a lot. It's a lot to invest in. However, I do think because I am so easily distracted by these visual elements and auditory elements, I can sort of say if there's anyone watching on the casting team or the producing team that is also similarly distracted by this, if they're not able to focus in on the work that you're doing, then what can we do to just troubleshoot a couple things?
Right.
So, right now I'm taking care of some family stuff in the Midwest, and I have two things. I have this new. I'm going to actually show you here. I have this inflatable light. This is only at 11% battery. You can see how strong it is. It's dual tone, and it's magnetic. So I just have it magnetized against my niece's jewelry box over here.
Nice.
So I brought that, and that is inflatable, like I said. So you can deflate it, pack it up, and then I have a piece of oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Hopefully you can cut this out.
Oh, you're good.
But there's so much going on in my family right now that my head is a little bit like, what are the words? But I have a piece of
Foil, scrim.
no, it's a fabric that I got from a fabric store. Oh, fleece. Okay.
Okay.
And I have a long piece of fleece that is lightweight and monotone that I can paint or tape with painter's tape on a back wall so that I have a
Nice.
clean back wall. So just I travel with my camera. I travel with this inflatable light now, and just a piece of fleece fabric that you can get at any fabric store because I don't ever want to present something that I put so much time and energy
Yeah.
into. And I'm not just talking about the time I prepped the audition, but the 2 decades I've been in LA. All of that I'm putting into my audition tape, and I don't want I want it to be very digestible, very, comprehensible as far as what is the storyline, what are the emotions, and also, Dustin, I feel like with good lighting, you can see like micro
You
expressions.
can. Yeah.
Because if everything is sort of blown out, or if I don't have a light on my backdrop, the light is trying to also light the sort of key light is trying to light everything similarly. Having a light there and one in front of me that's not blowing me out can really allow these micro expressions, whether it's sort of like just a tightening of my jaw or a narrowing of my eyes,
Yeah.
raising an
Yep.
eyebrow. And I never, when I'm looking at a script, go narrow eyes here, eyebrow up there, tighten the jaw. But when you're in the moment
Yeah.
and you're feeling these things, they naturally happen, and it would be such a shame for it not to be seen because of poor tech
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and
So,
it's first of all, anybody who pointed out or called you an elitist, what? Like
yeah.
it's I feel like if you are dedicated and passionate about your craft and you are serious about being in the industry and working, the little extra effort it takes to light your your audition is worth it, right? If you're not serious, then why do it? And I love the fact that you
Right.
put in the work, right? Especially like you said, you've been in the industry, you've been in it for 20 years. You don't want to show up and throw an audition tape that looks like it's day one, right? And I mean, you
100%.
it's important. And I with the self-tapes now, because it's so drastically different than the old cattle call days where you walk in and there's 100 other people that look just like you, and you basically get in and, maybe there's 2 or 3 people in the room you have to read to or whatever. But, maybe you get one shot and maybe that's it and you walk out the door, right? Do you like that it's shifted to the self-tape? That maybe you're like, oh God, that was awful. Erase, let me do that again. Or do you think it puts more pressure on you to be like, because you can just erase it and try again, where in the room you don't really get the opportunity? Talk about that a little bit. Are you a fan or not a fan? Do you miss the cattle calls?
I'm a huge fan of self-tapes.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky that since that is what we have to do, I know a lot of actors feel the opposite way. A lot of them feel the opposite way.
Yeah.
And I think for them right now, it's torture that they have to do this. I am so lucky that this is my preferred way, because I think this is it. So a lot of the auditions that I get are heavily emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Very heavily emotional, and going into a waiting room where there are so many other actors, and then also then going into the audition room itself and having to say, hi, it's good to see you, thank you for having me, and then like boom, going into the emotion. I found that very very challenging, very, very challenging. And my teacher had said to me, well, when you go in, just tell the casting director, who's like checking people in, just say like, I want to go in and just get to the work, and like don't even look at anybody in the room, don't even, and that feels in stark juxtaposition to my personality.
Yeah.
I want to lead with, thank you for having me here, it's great to see you, how are you, can you believe this weather? Whatever it is. And I also want to acknowledge everyone in the waiting room. So I couldn't quite, I was challenged by that. Now, I do think that, I do think that for a lot of actors, it has become a crutch.
Right.
It has
Yeah.
very much become a crutch. They do so many takes, but the thing is, I really do think that they think, well, I'll just keep working it, but they're not actually working it. They're just doing it again and hoping they'll be more memorized on the
Yes.
10th take, hoping that they'll finally pronounce the word right on the 10th take. They have not done the proper work. I think when and I don't mean to be on my soapbox, but I'll just be on it for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
When actors used to have to drive to the Sony lot and park and find their way, and they knew they had kind of one shot in front of this amazing casting director and this team of people, they prepped so hard so that when they
Yeah.
went in, they could get it. And now when people get in front of the camera, I feel like they have not done enough work. So they do it again and again and again. Luckily, I feel like one of the things that has kept me from not doing that is just knowing what it takes to be on set,
Yeah.
and sort of how few takes you get, letting that dictate what I want to do in front of the camera when I audition. And then also, I've had several Zoom producer sessions where you just get one take. Oh my gosh, the last one I had, it went so great. And I didn't get it, but it's a huge win because I felt so confident. And there were, I think, 5 of us up for the role.
Nice.
And I noticed a couple of the other names. And I was like, that person's awesome. You know, like what great competition.
Yeah.
Competition. There's no real competition, but it was 8 pages full of words that I don't usually say. So my adrenaline was kicking in. I was like nervous. I feel my nervousness sometimes like in my teeth. You know, like I was
Yeah.
like, woo, this is like a crazy sensation. But I was still able to meet the circumstances. So I've never in this like self-tape era, I've never sort of taken my foot off the gas. I just feel like this is gonna sound simplistic, but I just want it too much, you know?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
So.
passion. You have passion. And
Yeah.
you talked about it at the very top of the interview about how the industry now is always evolving. It's constantly changing. And so you just have to adapt. Your passion just shifts a little bit this way because this is how we do it now, you know? And if you can't be passionate and you're stuck in the old way, right? It's all about innovation and evolution and moving forward. And I think your attitude and your passion is great, which is why I'm glad you do post the auditions and you do share the experiences, because I think it's a great help for those getting into it who are like locked into a certain way. And it's like, your certain way might be different tomorrow and you're not going to get the gig. So
yes.
I love that you do that. I also want to talk to you because as people can see from this interview, as people can see from the first interview, and you and I have talked, and I've had the great pleasure of hanging out and having coffee with you, and just beautiful. You are the sweetest, kindest person. So you're getting all of these just nasty bad roles, which I love. It's like it's the furthest thing from who she really is, which just says what a phenomenal actress you are. But it's like, talk about that, because you look like you're having a lot of fun playing these really bad people. Do you find that you like playing bad a little bit more than playing good? Because you sure look like you do.
Oh, I'm having a blast doing it. I'm having such a blast.
Yeah.
Someone said to me, so my role on The Hunting Party, I was, this is
so
not
good.
a reveal. At the beginning, they're like, this is an escaped serial killer. She's killed 17. We verified 17 homicides
Right.
from her. And she's out and she's killing more. And people said to me, like, how did you find the blah, blah? I was like, I have rage inside that I would like to express. It's got to go somewhere. Might as well help me get health insurance, you know? And I have played what people would call like victims a lot for the first long part of my career. And now being able to play characters that may have felt victimized and then chose perhaps the misguided, perhaps the unhealthy route of expressing that into rage and it has been so cathartic
I
and
bet.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, on The Hunting Party, they trained me how to shoot a rifle, how to a rifle, a handgun. I stabbed someone. No, I stabbed a couple people. And then I had this whole nice fight sequence in the forest with Melissa Roxborough.
Yeah.
And like hand-to-hand combat, stage combat, and it's just so outside of my ordinary life that it feels like a blast. It feels like such a gift. Like it's so cool.
And you're great at it though. The thing that I marvel at is it's you're able to bring, even though it is so drastically different from who you are, this sense of authenticity to it. It's like it's so believable. It feels authentic. Especially The Hunting Party, for example. It's like and I don't want to spoil people who haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, what? You start off very vulnerable. Yeah, right? You as if maybe you are a victim. Did your husband beat you up? Why are you on the side of the road? Why are you trying to and you're very and that's so believable. And yet when you shift, and that poor guy, that is also just the shift is completely believable. So the authenticity that you bring to these characters is just incredible. And I don't know if that's from all of the years, of perfecting your craft and stage work, or how you approach even down to the lighting with a simple look on the face that brings that authentic feel to it. I don't know, but I just wanted to say that you are able to do that. I find that everything that I watch you in, I believe it. And I think that's key into the connectability with the audience. You have to believe it, right? And so, yeah. How do you approach that because like well, you kind of touched on it, I guess, right there. It's like, no, I have rage. It's a different rage, but I have rage and I can bring that. So maybe I haven't killed people, but I've been mad. So is that where you go? Do you try to go inward and say, okay, what have I been through that I can bring to this to make it authentic, even though I've really never experienced it? How do you go about playing something that you haven't experienced but come across authentic in? Because it's brilliant how you do it.
Oh, that's I so appreciate that. And I think this may a little bit expose what a this is not a very like sexy actory answer.
Yeah.
But I always I can kind of feel it in my gut, if that
Mm.
makes sense. I don't necessarily like I don't get too sort of cerebral about it, sort
Yeah.
of like how have I felt, how would I react? So much of like my backstory. I really just oh boy, I just kind of feel it inside. And with the hunting party, I have felt in my life betrayed. My character has felt betrayed. However, in my real life, I have not expressed
Right.
the rage at being betrayed. So all that I did was, so I think about this is I teach a lot about what I call pot of boiling water. Inside we have a pot of boiling water. All of us humans do. And really what's socially acceptable, what's the norm, especially for someone who was maybe raised Midwestern, someone who identifies as female, is to keep a lid on those emotions, keep a
Right.
lid on that pot of
Right.
boiling water, whatever's going on, you know? You just sort of swallow it and then you cry in the shower. And then the next day you're fine. So I think that is how Colleen has operated. And I felt like Brenda Lowe was like, the lid is rusted and it's off. And when it couldn't get properly off, I shut it off.
Yeah.
Just sort of like, I have no desire to keep a lid on this. It was like all that was already there percolating in my pot of boiling water. It's just that I allowed the lid to have a different sort of capacity for staying on.
Yeah.
And that's what also, rather than thinking, I'm sorry, I might go on and on. You can just
No,
like give
you're
me the high sign. You can bring a cane and just take me off stage, like the Muppet Show.
No, it's all good.
But there have also so anyway, it's already sort of like within me, and I just sort of let it happen. I haven't had to think too much about oh crap, I don't relate to this character who's completely different from me. I don't relate. How do I get in there? I feel like it's already somehow buried within me.
Mm.
And if I just kind of get out of the way, it'll come out. And then when I'm playing sort of, so that character and my character on the Law and Order Mothership and Law and Order SVU,
Yeah.
they were both a little bit of like wolf in sheep's clothing at a couple
Absolutely.
times.
Yeah.
And instead of playing like I'm a wolf, but in sheep's clothing, I just played straight up sheep. So at the beginning, when I'm sort of hitchhiking and nervous, there's no sort of like curl of my lip at the corner where you see like, ooh, she's maybe a killer, or like a gleam in my eye of psychosis,
Right.
because that would ruin the reveal,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So it was just sort of what I call a new truth. The new truth was like, I hope that I can hitchhike to the place that I want to go to safely. This guy a little bit creeps me out, but maybe I'm paranoid because life is different. Same thing with being on Law and Order. There were times when people are going, "Oh, she's gonna get acquitted of these charges because she's so good at lying."
Yeah.
But when I was lying, it wasn't that I was lying. That was my truth. That was absolutely my truth.
Yeah.
Until they sort of wanted to like see a little snarl come out or this or that. Yeah. And then one last thing I'll say, there's a moment a couple people have mentioned it to me on SVU where I'm in the courtroom and they're like, the thing you did with your nose. And I was like, what thing did I do with my nose? What thing? So I watched it back and I was like, oh, right. There's a moment where I like
Yeah.
sort of snarl. That's from my cat. My cat does that when he's annoyed. When he's annoyed, there's just a little
Yeah. Yeah.
and I imitate that a lot in my life. And then when I was sitting there, I was like, oh, I think I just pulled a puff. My little puffster came out. So yeah, I draw from within and let my lid pop off the pot of boiling water, and then sometimes I just channel my cat. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So what else? What do you want to play that you haven't played yet? What's just something out there? Because I feel like there's got to be something that you just are itching to get to and haven't done yet.
Oh, absolutely. So I'd love to be in a rom-com, like a traditional sort of like You've Got Mail
Yeah,
type
yeah.
rom-com. I would love to do that, to play sort of a romantic lead, because even on Station 19, although there was some romance, it wasn't necessarily felt by the other character. He was always kind of like, eh. And also, I had so much trauma from the abusive ex, from being in COVID times. So I'd love to just play a happy gal falling in love.
Yeah.
Maybe in the autumn, maybe in Christmas time, who knows? And I'd also love to do some uh like a lot of jargon. When I auditioned to play doctors, lawyers, and also recently I played someone who was a scientist,
Hmm.
auditioned to play that. I love figuring all of that stuff out. I love the challenge of, you know, I love a monologue. And if it's, and luckily I auditioned for some really well-written things. So I'd love to do more of that for
Yeah,
sure.
no, well, and yeah, you scream like lawyer to me or doctor to me. You really do because, like I said, you bring such authenticity, and you're clearly very sharp and very intelligent, and the way you approach things very methodically. I mean, it just screams that you should be able to play a lawyer or a doctor. Pretty simple. It would just seem like that's a good thing. And yeah, romantic comedy. Who doesn't want to be in a romantic comedy, right? Get the happy
Right?
ending, and
Oh,
yeah, I mean, and we
absolutely.
need more of them. We talk about this on the show all the time. It's like, where are they? They were booming for so long, and they've kind of quietly just fallen off. And I'm like, we need more romantic
Yeah.
comedies.
Oh,
So
I absolutely agree. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's get
Maybe we'll
on
have to
that.
make one. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's get on that and make that happen because yeah. So okay, we last time that we talked, we weren't doing these type things, but we've got some popcorn questions that we call them now that we
Ooh,
like to kind of
yes.
wrap up the interviews with. So first, I'm just curious if you could live in any television show or film, which one would it be and why?
I'd love to be a part of Bridgerton. I'd love to be a part of Bridgerton.
Sure.
Now, the women don't have all the rights we want them to have in Bridgerton.
Right.
Yes, I would love to be a part of that. Also, I'm rewatching a show that I love called Happy Endings.
Mm,
A comedy from I think maybe 2010 to 2013.
yeah.
It is, I just think the writing is so sharp. The performances are incredible, but it is, in watching it, it's a little bit of a time capsule of, the fashion and the pop culture of the time. So I'd like to be on this show, but with like current fashion.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to that. Yeah, I think that'd be it.
Nice. That's okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. My next question is get a little deep. If you could go back and tell your 10-year-old self something, what would you say?
Mm. That's such a good question. Um, I would say, that it's okay to want to be seen. It's okay to
Mm,
want to be celebrated. I've talked about this previously on a podcast that I host for the acting studio that I work at. But I was raised in a pretty punitive expression of religion where people children were meant to be seen but not noticed.
mm,
And humility was one of the greatest virtues, humility, to the point where to want to be seen, to sing, to dance, to do whatever was really looked down upon. I mean, when I had my first confession with a priest, my confession was that I was dancing in my bedroom. That was sort of the world I lived in. My grandfather sat me down before he passed, and he was trying to discourage me from pursuing a career in this industry. And he said, in the Lord's Prayer, it says, lead us not into temptation. And he said, but part of that is we need not to deliver ourselves into temptation.
mm.
And was basically the message I got was it's unholy to pursue this.
Right.
So I lived with a lot of shame in the fact that I want to be an actor. I want to be in movies. I want to be on red carpets. So that's a long answer to a very short question,
No,
but
but
yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. That's a beautiful answer because, I take it back to what you were saying about how it's important to you when you enter a room that you acknowledge everybody and that you want to start off with, how are you? It's good to see you again. How, simple things, but making sure that they're seen. And I would have to say that stems from what you just said. That's something that you
Whoa.
may not even recognize that you carried forward, but because you were denied or had to feel hidden and not, you make sure no one else has to feel that when you walk in a room. And that's a beautiful thing. So that was a beautiful answer.
Wow. I've
Yeah.
never made that connection, but I really do want all of my students to be seen
Yeah.
and really seen for what they give by just being themselves.
Yeah.
We can work on heightening things, doing whatever, but at their core, I need them to know that they are enough. So,
Yes.
thank you for making that connection. That's really beautiful. I
Yeah.
feel like it was a therapy session. I need to give you my copay information.
Well, we do host that mental health podcast too.
There we
We
go.
dive deep
Yeah.
into it a little, but no, really, because all kidding aside, with mental health, and I think, you know, so many more people would be helped if we just saw them, right? I think some people go down a bad path or end up tragically, somewhere they don't want to be because no one paid attention and no one just took the time to acknowledge them. So seeing someone with as simple as, "Hey, how are you today?" Yeah, I mean, it's huge. And so I think it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing that you do that. Career wise,
Yeah.
how are you? Are you happy with where you're at with your career right now? Would you change anything? What do you feel?
I'd like to be on set more often.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody would.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I'd like to be on set more often, because it's sort of my happiest place. I like the roles. I really like the roles that I get to play. I love them. And we're currently working on expanding the range a little bit. Maybe 2 years ago, I would never have imagined I'd be playing a serial killer
Yeah.
and a really heinous trafficker. Um, uh, so I'm very much open to like expanding my range. I if I didn't play a crying mom for another short while, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of that. So someone not so steeped in like trauma. I'm really open to playing that. And I also, last year I did a film. Actually, 1 year ago yesterday, I flew to Minnesota, landed in Minnesota. We shot a feature film in 17 days, in the brutal cold, and I loved it.
Yes.
I hadn't worked on a film in a long time, and I've never ever worked on a film in that kind of capacity because there were only four of us characters.
Mm.
So I want to do more of that. It made me fall back in love with film,
Yeah.
especially independent film. So so um, while I am grateful for what I have, I want to do more. It's like very much The Little Mermaid. Who cares? No big deal. I want more. More features, baby. I want to play more of these characters, more of that, just more. And I think it's on its way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely on its way, and I love the honesty. That's another thing that you've always been. You're just straightforward on. You can say, "Oh no, I'm very happy with my career. I've landed all these things, and no, I want more." I mean,
Yeah.
it's okay to want
Yes.
more. Like you just said, it's okay
Yes.
to want to be seen. I
Yes.
want to be seen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I love the honesty. This has been such a joy. Yeah, you are always such a pleasure to talk to, and I feel like you are inspiring for so many people. And,
Mm.
and, you know, I continue to wish you much success in everything that you do. And I know it's coming. I know all the stuff that you want to do is coming. And yeah, just thank you so much for coming on and chatting again. And yeah, we're going to have to work together. We are going to have to work together. I'm telling
I
you.
think it needs to happen.
It needs to
Absolutely.
happen. If I have to write a romantic comedy for you, I am going to write a romantic comedy for you, and we will shoot it. I want to see it. I want to see it. I think you'd kill
I
it.
do too. I want to thank you for, first of all, being such an enthusiast of this industry, of the arts, and of the person that you're sitting right across from. I feel that every time that we've chatted, both via Zoom for the podcast and in person, you are so present and so supportive, and I feel it. And it leaves me different after our time together. So thank you so much for that. And we'll just have to continue doing this while we create our
Absolutely.
feature film.
And
So,
right back at you. You know, you have always been so supportive, and not just for myself and Logan and our company and the things that we do, but my daughter. I mean, my daughter got into teaching. You were one of the first people to go, okay, what supplies does she need? She's just, you are the same. And I feel the same about you. And we definitely, yes, you have a spot forever, always. And
thank
I
you.
can't wait to actually do something with you, because I think it'll be brilliant, and you're just incredible. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Until next time.
Yes.